Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome back to another of the Booty Radio F1 Team Career Mode series. In Season 2, we are here in Texas for round 19, the second of our home races, and one of the closest to a spot that I've ever lived. We do have a sprint weekend ahead of us, and we are on the back of a couple of tricky weeks. We did manage to grab a point in Singapore, but we were in the podium positions, and it was kind of rough to lose it on a slow pit stop. But alas, we get right back to it. We're hoping that Joshua can have a bit of a bounce back performance. After a couple solid results, he's been just outside the points a couple of times. Granted, mechanical issues in Baku definitely didn't help him out. But with a sprint event on the way, we're just going to get the correct power unit components fitted. I think we go one more race on this energy store, and then we'll be fine the rest of the way. Really, we're still on our first control electronics. That's impressive. I'm a little concerned. I feel like we're due for retirement. This is a track that is usually tough for me, though, so let's find out what happens.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying.
All right, so as is tradition in the sprint qualifying, we are out on one set of medium tires first to get a banker lap in, since we've only got the one set of softs to use. So let's get around the final corner and on the power and start our first lap of the session. Headed down towards turn one. Big uphill braking zone. Trying to get a measure of the braking point. We were a little late there, so we've cost ourselves a bit of time. But again, this is just going to be a banker lap. It's going to be very important to not invalidate when we get to our soft tire run here. It is very easy to do so. We are staying actually quite clear of track limits. Ugh. Car rotation is definitely struggling on the medium tires. My wheel kind of wigged out for a second there and it wouldn't downshift. That was interesting. Sure, park right in the middle of the track. That's especially helpful. Joshua setting the first flying lap time of anyone. We've got a Mercedes that's pretty unhappy, I'm assuming, to be behind us. Because he's got medium tires on. Yeah, there we go. 1.9 seconds off of our teammate. Not a big surprise to be that far off the pace. All right, rather unsurprisingly, sitting at the bottom of the timing tables after the medium tire run. Not exactly a shock there, but we got the soft tires on. Gotta get something. Here we go, out of the final corner. This track is always a struggle for me. Much better run through turn one. Finding some time, but we need a lot of time in this last sector still. Out of the final corner, we find 1.9. I think that'll put us close to Joshua. 11th, not bad. Middle of the pack.
And that's it for sprint qualifying. Plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend. So we'll see you all tomorrow.
And I wasn't kidding when I said it would put me near Joshua. Just a couple of, not even a couple of hundredths. Like a hundredth faster. Whereas Gasly down in P20 should be well outside the reach of the points there. We still have some work to do to get into the points for the sprint, of course, with only the top 8 scoring.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Antonelli, Yuki Tsunoda, and Piastri, Senna, Norris, Fernando Alonso, and Alex Albon, Martins, Pierce, Carlos Sainz, and Stroll, Doohan, Hadja, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto, Lawson, Gasly, Hulkenberg, and Ollie Behrman rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Okay, fuel. What do I need for 12 laps, or 10 laps of racing? 16.5 is what the practice calculator said. So that's what we'll put in. And we're on the medium tire, rather unsurprisingly. Let's see if we can maybe sneak our way into the points, or at least just get an idea of what we're going to need in the Grand Prix. Here we go. 5 red lights for the sprint race. A little bit of wheel spin at the start, but we're going to be able to go get around the outside. And a pretty decent start to kick the sprint off. Now it's going to be all about who's behind us and if we can stay with this group of cars in front of us. Deep in the slipstream. Decent first lap. We're going to need a strong first sector to make sure we stay in DRS though. Yellow flag's behind us, so. Oop. Got a little bit of a track limit warning there. And that's Gasly out of session. Here's where the difficulty is. The AI is so good through that sequence that I actually lost DRS. So now here comes Alex Albon, which is going to be a real struggle. Moving well to the inside to cover him off. Gets the apex first, run it out wide. Well, I think this is probably going to be the end of my time in P8. The two cars that have dropped out of the race, or is that a spinner? That looks like a spinner for one of them. I just have no shot to have the battery to fend this off. And now I need to try and stick with Albon without battery assistance. The exit they get off of that corner is just insane. I don't know how they do it. I just don't have the battery to hold him off. Like, we've had to spend so much battery at the early stages of this race already. And I think it'll be better for me in the constructors and drivers if I let Norris just go and chase down Albon and almost certainly take a point off of him. There's the big lockup. Starting the last lap. Big mistake on the way into the last lap. But the rear of the car just is not very happy at the moment. The amount of wheel spin I'm getting is kind of crazy. Fuel consumption is pretty much right where we'd expect it to be. We got that in an early jump, and it looked like we may have an opportunity, but it's a track I struggle at. I just never really hook up laps around Circuit of the Americas, even all the way back to the league racing days. It was, it was a home race, but never a very good race for me. But another thing to kind of keep in mind is that we have fallen behind Williams and Aston Martin on the performance charts. So it's definitely more of an effort to stay in front of those cars now. But that being said, we are behind our teammate on race pace. Like, we qualified ahead, we got the jump at the start by several positions, and just slipped back. Some of it was mistakes, but overall, like, the pass that Joshua made on me was an absolute slam dunk pass too. It's no chance to defend. So not a great sign.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Yeah, shut up. Not a great sign heading into the Grand Prix to be sliding backwards like that.
So that wraps up the sprint race, but there's still more action yet to come this weekend. We've got qualifying and, of course, the Grand Prix.
Yeah, so we drop a position. Joshua gains. Relatively stable the rest of the way. One position up, one position down here. Surprising to see Verstappen drop so many places to the McLarens. But we're kind of locked in as far as standings go. So we'll just kind of get to the end of this second season. But we've got the Grand Prix next and qualifying for that. So let's see if we can't put in a similarly good qualifying performance and have better overall race pace.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying.
So our first run was delayed with a fuel system issue. We weren't able to get out on track right away. Only 12 minutes to go in the session, and it does put us in a little awkward spot as far as the traffic goes. The sun is still as annoying as it always is in qualifying. But let's see what kind of time we can turn in with our first run. We'll work our way down the hill through the S's. Ooh, that was not as grippy as it usually is. Interesting. We survived, but we did lose a little time. I wouldn't think that my front tire temperature would be low, but maybe. .31.5 puts us a provisional P12 after our first run. We might not have enough time to do our usual second run on this set of tires. We'll see what happens, but we might only get 2 runs this qualifying session. All right, we're out for another run hustling because I think we can just about finish this middle run in. Our teammates just ahead of us up the road. We've fallen to P17 provisional. But we did have quite a few areas that we could have cleaned up along this lap, so let's go ahead and clean them up. A little better run through the initial part of Sector 1, a little wide there. It's going to cost us a heap of time, actually. But a better run through the left-hand kink gains that time right back. A little tentative on the throttle there. The back end was starting to try and kick out just a little bit. But we are going to push this final sector. We do have a little cloud cover coming in that is helping with that horrible sun in the braking zone of the last corner. So we might actually be able to find a teeny bit of improvement there. A little wide on the apex. Losing a little bit of time, but we do improve by 0.3. Now we need to get back to the pit lane quickly. Okay, we managed to get in and out of the pits as quickly as possible, and most importantly, we got out just ahead of the cars on a flying lap. So we do have pretty clear track in front of us to now try and get ourselves up the table. Oh, we missed the apex pretty badly there. But we did better the turn before, so kind of evens out. Drivers all across the line mostly. We've shuffled down to P14, but we are on track at the moment for an improvement. Oh, a little wide. That's going to cost us a couple of, maybe a 1/10. Cross the line. Where do we go? We found about a half a second there. P10. I think that should put us ahead of Joshua. Indeed it does. P10 on the grid. 2.1 seconds off pole time. Man, those top cars are just rapid. We are about 0.3 off of Fernando Alonso, only a couple of hundredths, about half a tenth faster than Alex Albon. We're gonna need the race pace to really come in key for us. I think Alpine is just kind of out of the picture. Pierre Gasly's the one we're kind of looking for points-wise compared to Joshua.
Well, you don't need me to remind you that Formula One is now so beloved in the United States that we race here 3 times a year. But let's give respect to COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas, to give it its full name. This place laid the foundations for this moment and still remains the host of the US Grand Prix. We're racing then today in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of this wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles per hour here today, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, and Fernando Alonso, Martins, Albon, Pierce, and Lando Norris, Hulkenberg, Senna, Esteban Ocon, and Hadjar, Doohan, Piastri, Lance Stroll, and Liam Lawson, Bortoletto, Behrman, Sainz, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
What's 10-10? That's too long. One stop it is. And we just see what we can do out of it. We just hope. So a few cars have taken engine penalties, which shifts us up a couple of spots. We're going to stay nice and wide on turn 1. Should give us the exit that we need. Up into P6, just ahead of Alonso now. And now we're in a relatively important phase of this race here. Find a lead car to latch onto. The Red Bulls are technically the slowest of the top 4 teams, so if we can get behind one of him, which Tsunoda is right in front of us, then we may have a shot of staying inside DRS. But we need a good Sector 1, as always. And the corner coming out of the S's is the most important one. Just like that, we managed to just about stay inside DRS. And now we've got Yuki Tsunoda to try and hold on to and preserve some battery. Yep, Lando's going to come through very easily here. I would like to try and stay with him. at least get one dip of DRS down the back straight. But that's not possible. And that's just how much faster those top teams are than the rest of the grid right now. They are nuts. I think I'm about to get passed by 3 cars here. Okay, not 3, only the 1. Which is honestly better than I thought it was going to be. Just the lack of rear traction in that corner is crazy. I don't understand it. I just don't have the rear tires after like 3 laps even to be anywhere competitive with the rear traction that the AI has. Yep, it's going to be 2 cars waving right past like with no effort. No, guys, I don't need you guys fighting because now you're just going to push me back into Alonso. This went about as bad as it possibly could have. Ugh, slippery entry too. Come on, need a good stop from the team. Good stop. I'll take the warning, that's fine. Driver behind.
Ocon's behind you. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Time
Okay.
last lap, 1 minute 37.7. We think they've got one more stop.
So we shouldn't have a lot of pressure from them. The real key is going to be what can we do about Alonso and Sainz and Joshua. Use some overtake here. Try and get the out lap that we need. Okay, Joshua's entered the pit lane. Looks like Alonso has stayed out.
Joshua's coming in for his stop.
Looks like a relatively long stop. He was stationary for a while, Joshua was. That should be Senna's second stop. George out of the session. That's going to free up a points paying position. Oh, what happened to the front end grip for that complex of corners? I think we're back to the Zandvoort protocol here. That was such a bad turn one. That's going to cost me DRS. Without a doubt. Unless I have an insane end to sector one. And I had to use quite a bit of battery to pull that off. Piastri's through. Oh, it's a big lockup on the front left. Now I'm in real trouble here. I had to use quite a lot of battery to fend that run off. Yellow flags, yellow flags. Is that... What was the yellow flag for? Still only have the one retirement, Carlos Sainz. I don't know what those yellow flags were for. Okay, now that's definitely two. I wish I could talk to my teammate and be like, drive really slow through here. Let me recharge my battery. Keep me in your DRS. Like, I'll defend you from the McLaren. "26 of 28. It's not impossible to keep Piastri behind. It's just improbable. Good thing he hasn't gone for that move on the inside of the little double left. That was almost track limits. I don't have the battery to defend it. I had to be late on the brakes. I went a little deep. Here we go, starting the last lap of the race. Defending for our life against the McLaren of Piastri. That defense is unfortunately going to leave us susceptible to him down the main straight. But we've at least shored up the position for our teammate. Oscar will have DRS on me down the back straight. I will not have the battery to defend it. But lap after lap of defending like crazy against him is going to net the position. Well, no, let's see. Pinch him to the apex, around the outside. We might have actually just gotten the exit we needed off of turn 11 to get the job done. No more DRS. I thought I was sitting duck done for and we were going to be finishing 9th, but instead managed to hang it out around the outside. Just need to make sure there are no track limits on the way home. We have 2 warnings. And no spins out of last corner. And indeed, we managed to hold on a 7th and 8th.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
That was a sweaty, sweaty, sweaty race to grind through. That was a tough one, for sure. But managed to secure 7th and 8th as a team, which is quality.
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
Yes, it absolutely was, and what an incredible victory and an important milestone for them as we head into the business end of the season. You know that that's really going to matter from a confidence perspective to get them to the end of the season with potentially even more of these victories.
It's what they've all been racing towards, waiting for them. High above the pit lane is our podium. And for the lucky 3, it's time to stand on it. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc on top. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
That was a tough Grand Prix. I don't know how we managed to keep... DRS trains did work. Oscar Piastri nearly climbed his way up out of the doldrums to get ahead. I thought for sure we were going to see Piastri sail right by both me and Joshua, but somehow managed to hold it off. A good result for Joshua. 6 points is a nice haul for him, which will help him in the driver's standings. Give him a little more breathing room to Gasly behind now. 9 points separating them. Granted, a freak P5 finish is not out of the question for any team going to the end of the year, but he has built some comfortable distance there. We're up to 98 points, nearly cracking that 100-point mark on the season. Still a close fight between Mercedes and Ferrari. I think McLaren is just about out of it at this point. And the gap at the front, 83 points for Lando Norris with, 5 races left? 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 5 races left. It would take some significant results and significant unfortunateness for Norris to not win this Drivers' Championship. All right, Joshua's accepted the contract. We are set for our drivers next season. That's wonderful. Still just Alonso's retirement. Still have not gotten any new... Oh, wait. Developments are highlighted. Does that mean... Yes, regulation changes are in. Chassis and powertrain are the changes. So it's time to get these on the schedule. We need to get as many of these parts adapted as quickly as possible. Luckily, we've got the triple slots open. But that's going to be a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should be able to get that one before the end of the season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think we could get everything adapted before the season is out, which would put us in a pretty good spot. Is there anything else we can develop, or is it just highlighting it because there's so many things to develop? Research-wise, I don't think we've unlocked the next round. We have some development, some facility improvements on the way to help out with that. But let's see, Joshua, yeah, that is a spicy engine he's got there. But he did well on that spicy engine. So let's get some healthy components in his vehicle. He might need to take another energy store before the end. It's going to be close. But I think we should just be able to get him safely to the end of the season. We need to check finances. How are we looking on the cost cap? I think we should be just about fine reaching up to the cost cap this season. Not sure why We started from season 1. But okay, we'll figure it out when we get to season 3. Maybe everybody will be in trouble. But not a lot of time before the Mexico City Grand Prix. In fact, only enough for some small things. So let's do a sponsor discovery. And I'm going to do a little bit of fiddling with the car. Well, let's advance first.
Hey, Chief. Just a reminder to kick off some research projects. We
You
don't
can't
want to fall
make me.
behind our rivals, and we haven't got anything in the pipeline at the moment.
You can't make me,
Thanks.
Mathis. You can't make me develop the brakes. But I'm going to fiddle around with the sponsors, maybe. I think mostly we've left them alone. But if there's anything interesting, we'll see some changes to the car. Otherwise, thank you all for joining me once again. As always, have a great one. Peace.